Now, I want to spend just a few minutes talking about our broad effort to expand diversity at the highest levels of CWA's leadership, or more specifically, to expand diversity on the CWA Executive Board. All of us know that simple equity demands that we shatter glass ceilings wherever they exist, that we advance affirmative action, and go that extra mile to ensure that our governing body reflects our membership. This is a matter of morality, of fairness, of justice, and of democracy. That's true of any organization, to be fair, to be just, to be democratic, but it's all the more important in a labor union because inclusion and diversity are what we are supposed to be all about. And diversity is critically important, not only for principle, but also for a practical reason. It makes us stronger, more effective, and more powerful. The broader the perspectives we bring to the executive board room, the smarter the decisions that will emerge from it. And the more our leaders reflect our members, the more responsive to their needs we will be. The greater the range of backgrounds and experiences we use to guide our union, the swifter we will move toward our destination. So if you hear nothing else, hear this. Diversity at the highest levels of our leadership is the right thing to do. It's the smart thing to do. It's the only thing to do. I say that because over the past year I've been privileged to chair the Committee on Executive Board Diversity. And serving with me on that committee are CWA Executive Board members Annie Hill, the Vice President of CWA District 7, Noah Savant, Vice President of CWA District 3, and Brooke Sunkett, Vice President, CWA Public Health and Education Workers. The Women's Committee selected 2 women to serve with us, and those committee members are Susie McAllister, Secretary-Treasurer of CWA Local 7704, and Mary Lou Schaefer, President of CWA Local 13550. And the COE members gave us 2 of their committee members, Keith Robinson, who's a steward in Local 6310, and Jetty Wells, Executive Vice President in Local 4009. The committee sought ideas and input from every level of CWA. We held 3 two-day sessions in San Antonio and also in Washington. We've had numerous telephone conference calls since beginning our work after last year's convention. We have posted our meeting notes on the Ready for the Future website following every meeting and conference call. In late October, we emailed a survey to all locals seeking ideas and suggestions that could be incorporated into our final recommendations. And subsequently, we reviewed, and I do mean all, we reviewed all of those survey responses. Additionally, we took up specific issues that affect diversity within the union movement, including the barriers to women and minorities, those that they face in moving up within the union structure, in winning election to the executive board, and we took a hard look at the current demographics of the CWA membership and staff. Furthermore, we also looked at the size and the makeup of other international union executive boards, as well as that of the AFL-CIO. The committee also reviewed the legal constraints and limitations in addressing the issue of executive board diversity, and we looked very carefully at the AFL-CIO resolution promoting greater gender and racial diversity in the Federation's governing bodies. As a result of our meetings, extensive research, and numerous challenging discussions and deliberations, the committee has developed a series of recommendations and constitutional amendments which will be presented to this year's CWA convention for consideration and action. Our recommendations, and indeed all of our work, was driven by the charge we were given to increase diversity on the CWA Executive Board. We believe these recommendations will do that and in turn make CWA an even more dynamic and energetic union, and therein a stronger voice for justice in the workplace. Now, you're going to be seeing and reading a lot about this in the weeks and the months leading up to the convention, but I want to just briefly summarize our recommendations for you today. First and foremost, the committee has proposed adding 4 at-large diversity board members to the CWA Executive Board. At least 3 of these at-large members would be persons of color, and at least 2 would be women. The 4 at-large diversity board seats will be represented by 4 geographic regions within CWA. There will be an at-large Northeast region, an at-large Southeast region, an at-large Central region, and an at-large Western region. All of the at-large diversity board members will have the same policy-making responsibilities and voting authority as other board members. At-large board members will not be full-time. Expenses and lost wages, however, will be paid for attending board meetings and performing any other executive board responsibilities as assigned by the President. The executive board will appoint one at-large diversity board member from each region following this year's convention from nominations submitted by the National Committee on Equity, the National Women's Committee, and the Minority Caucus. The Executive Board will act on the nominations at its first scheduled board meeting following the convention. The board will be guided by the goal of having at least 3 people of color and 2 women in the at-large diversity seats. Elections for at-large board members will be held in 2008 at the 2008 convention. Nominations will be taken from the floor using the same procedure as that used for national officers. Members shall be eligible to be nominated and run for the at-large diversity seats in the region in which they hold membership. A member can only be nominated and run for one at-large diversity board seat. All nominated candidates will be placed on the ballot, and each delegate shall vote for one candidate from each region. The candidate from each region who receives the majority of the votes will be elected to the board. The committee has also proposed the establishment of a permanent executive board diversity committee composed of the 4 at-large diversity board members plus other board members appointed by the President. This committee would be responsible for tracking the diversity of our membership and interacting with the National Committee on Equity, the National Women's Committee, and the Minority Caucus. In summary form, those are our recommendations for consideration and action this year at the CWA Convention. I truly believe they will take CWA to a new level of serving and representing our members, all of our members. So as you read and consider the committee's recommendations, I trust that you will conclude, as I have, that these recommendations will add another great chapter to our union's continuing history. I believe these changes are long overdue. I believe they are sound. I believe they are sound and have been developed with real sense of purpose. But most of all, I believe these changes and the diversity that they will bring to our leadership ranks will help CWA make an even greater difference in the lives of our members and workers everywhere. And let me just conclude by reading the final paragraph from the 2005 AFL-CIO Council resolution entitled, "A Diverse Movement Calls for Diverse Leadership," and I quote, "America's union movement must stand as a model of full inclusion. We cannot ask more of broader society than we are willing to do ourselves. We cannot build better futures for working families without the full strength brought by brothers and sisters of every description. In our hiring, organizing, representation, outreach, leadership, the union movement must embody our goal of equal welcome and equal opportunity for all," end of quote. I hope that you will join me. I hope that you will work actively to support the committee's recommendations to increase diversity on the CWA board. Neither the committee nor I can do it alone. And as I've said before, the changes are long overdue. It's time, and now's the time. Thank you.